from a structural perspective, what you guys did in New York isn't the only like kind of really interesting and unique outside the box deal that I have heard about you doing. And you recently announced the deal that you did with S1 Enterprises, also known in the market as Illicit Cannabis. And they recently became an ESOP, which is an employee-owned company. And we've talked about this on the show. I've done a bunch of personal research into this for clients who are interested. And it is really unique. And I think while absolutely different than social equity, it also is kind of putting the future in the hands of people that maybe wouldn't be owners of businesses otherwise in a pretty cool structural way. And it's been a popular structure for groups like grocery stores that have become employee owned in years past. And usually these deals basically what happens is a founding team, the owners sell the company to their employees, and the employees who generally individually don't have the money to buy the whole company will finance it in some way. And in cannabis, this isn't the first ESOP deal, but it's the first that's been publicly shared that it's had outside financing come in. And generally, ESOP deals have been financed by the sellers, meaning the employees enter into a debt agreement with the owners, the founders often of the company, which means that the founders don't actually get liquidity quickly. It's like a slow drip, which isn't really what they want. And so you guys got involved in this illicit deal and you came in and you financed the whole thing, which means that now the employees own the company and they're in a kind of debt deal with you instead of with the original owners who theoretically get to exit stage left with some cash in their pocket. Is that a good understanding of what happened? Can you tell us a little bit about that deal and how you guys approached it and got involved in it?
Yeah, for sure. So another fun fact about ESOPs is that the most ESOPs in the country are out of Kansas City, and that's where Illicit is headquartered as well. So there's just a concentration of ESOPs outside of cannabis there. But yeah, I think you're mostly accurate in what you said. The only thing I would say that probably the main difference would be the owners are very much so staying on and staying involved, right? I think you'd have like a same issue of like the social equity issue if you truly just sold your business to like the employees and you were like, we're just going to strip all the leadership out of here and good luck, budtenders and cultivators, managing all the corporate side of the business. So, for I think cannabis operators, and listen, ESOP, I think the benefits of ESOP can be most concisely explained in 2 words, which is no tax. So, if you're and not just 280E, right? No federal, no state tax, right? Because the spirit of an ESOP is the government going out and saying, hey, I want to incentivize business owners to shift ownership to their employee base, right? It's like a social program. So I think that when you look at these cannabis operators, someone who's been doing this now for a decade, it's a lot of fatigue, right? I mean, a lot of these folks, they were 30, 40 when they started, now they're 40, 50. And like, they just want to go buy a home and like put their kids in like private school, in a nice school, right? This isn't like, I'm going to take this giant check and like go hang out on the beach, right? And the ESOP owners, the trade-off is obviously no tax. Obviously, like you could get liquidity as we saw with the illicit ESOP, but there are usually like warrant structures where they can get another bite at the apple. So you're kind of muting your upside a little bit, where an ESOP an ESOP owner would lose is if there was some watershed moment in cannabis, right? And next year multiples jumped from, 4 to 5 times EBITDA to 20 times EBITDA, right? As we kind of saw in like the 17, 18, 19 days, right? But I don't think anyone thinks that's really, on the table right now. And so it's like, you take that tax-free growth and you pay down these sellers notes, and then you have like a really strong business. So I think you'll see more of these ESOP transactions happen due to a lack of liquidity options for operators that have been, at this game for a long time. And as you guys know and talk on this podcast all the time, it's not for the faint of heart, right? I mean, there's a lot of constant regulatory changes in this business, right? You're living in constant ambiguity. So to even take some chips off the table and say like, okay, I've at least got a nest egg after working in this industry for 10 years as an owner and risking everything and living in complete ambiguity. At least I have some kind of liquidity off the table, to know my family's going to be taken care of.
Well, I was really excited to see this deal, just on a personal note, because I think that the employees in cannabis have some of the biggest hearts out there. And I think even the structure allowing employee ownership is really powerful, and it gets people involved in a way that stock options never really have come to be fruitful for cannabis employees who have been able to get small little pieces of companies, but then there's just really no exit there. And so this is just another structure. And I think it's really great to see some institutional capital coming in and supporting it. And I think it will lead to more transactions in the future.
Yeah. And like, listen, I think 280E, which I know is talked a lot in our world. I mean, it's punitive, right? I mean, what is the equity value of a business that's paying tax on gross profit, right? Probably not that much, right? So, I think the ESOP actually does two things. It actually does shift ownership into the employees, and ownership that has value, right? Not just stock options. Like, I like joke with my friends in the investing community. I'm like, if you don't own worthless cannabis stock, you have not been in the space that long. Like, it's right. I mean, it's like literally just part of it. I mean, what percentage of cannabis companies, that you could have invested in 8 years ago still you would be in the money on? I mean, like, are there any? I don't know.
Pretty dead portfolio to speak to that one.
Lots of tears.